Program in France, where officials say nearly 1,000 protesters were arrested in a fourth night of rioting after the police shooting of 17-year-old Naël M in a Parisian suburb. Overnight, the Interior Minister claimed that there had been a downturn in the violence. Well, the unrest broke out in several cities, notably in Marseille, in the south of the country. Video footage showing streets on fire and shops, including a gun store, being attacked and looted by rioters. Well, despite the deployment of 45,000 police officers right across the country, the violence continued, including in the capital, Paris. And further afield, French media reported riots breaking out in French Caribbean territories, where at least one person was reportedly killed. The French football star and captain of the national team, Kylian Mbappé, has called for calm, saying violence solves nothing and that it should be replaced with mourning, dialogue and reconstruction. The police officer involved in the death of the teenager on Tuesday has been charged with voluntary homicide. Niall's funeral will be held later in his hometown of Nanterre, a suburb northwest of the capital. The family have requested journalists and the public to stay away. Regina Vaidyanathan begins our coverage.
Across France, yet more rage. Streets under siege. A dramatic outpouring of anger after a 17-year-old, Naël, was killed by police during a traffic stop. Many of the rioters are teenagers, out despite a plea from France's president to parents to keep their children at home.
As the protests have intensified, so too has the police presence. Across the country from Friday into Saturday morning, more than 45,000 officers were deployed. And it's the police that is driving people onto the streets in the first place. Many here accuse officers of discrimination. And even the UN says that France needs to address its deep-rooted issues of racism in the police force. It's a concern crowds at this protest share. The country's foreign ministry says the UN's claims are unfounded. But the French police have long been plagued by accusations of racism. Many see this violence as a wake-up call, but for the government, containing it's a challenge. What began with the death of Naël has now come to represent something bigger. Regina Vaidyanathan, BBC News.